Right, Tom, thanks very much for that. Cheers. Time for us to talk about some of the best partnerships in sport.
OTB AM.
Brought to you by Pandora. Celebrate love with a special gift.
All this week here on OTB AM, Valentine's week, of course, we're going to be going through the best sporting partnerships, and it's all with thanks to Pandora. Owen, we're looking at football this morning. Who have you got for us?
Well, I couldn't really look much further than the love that's shared between Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp. When this idea came out there, we're going to do partnerships for the week, this is the first one I wanted to do. So, football starting the week off, it just couldn't be better really for Bergkamp, Henry. I kind of like the whole idea of the sort of master apprentice, and then the apprentice becomes the master, and the master is still a really talented old guy.
Okay, yeah, go on.
That's basically how the Henry. And it could have become a love triangle, a very awkward love triangle at times. I mean, Canu perhaps threatened to turn this from not just a two-person partnership but into a three-person partnership. He was kind of shunted. Same with Sylvain Wiltord, kind of moved out to the flank.
They were just affairs. This is
they were affairs.
This is a long-standing marriage.
This was never going to be a love triangle. This is always going to be a tete-a-tete of pure footballing.
Emotion. Passion. Or is it cold? Is it coldness? Was there a tough love element to this partnership?
I would say there were coldness when they're side by side and warm looking each other head on. That is how I would say it. A mutual appreciation.
Shoulder to shoulder, they could kill anybody. Exactly,
but they knew that together they would form an incredible arsenal of just terror for any opposition that they came up against. And even just watching, what were we watching back? We were watching the Tunnelgate match last week, and there were even moments when, if you flipped the roles a small bit, when Henry would come deeper and Bergkamp would push further forward, that you had moments of magic as well, because Henry's passing range is something that was extraordinary, and now Bergkamp didn't have the pace to ever lead the line, especially at that stage in his career, but I think he would certainly thank Henry for the renaissance he had in his career, and I think Henry would thank Bergkamp for bringing him to the heights that he got to in terms of just pure goal scoring and winning golden boots.
Bear in mind, Thierry Henry was a bust when he arrived.
Exactly. Well, he was a winger.
He was a big risk who had been a complete bust in Italy, having had a superstar teenager, goes to Italy, flops, and doesn't score for his first 15 games. Is it?
It's a long time until Manchester United, isn't it?
First 10 games anyway. He doesn't score, and their relationship with Bergkamp is obviously very important.
Of course it is, and as I say, the reason why Canu was a problem in this is because Canu was seen as a striker that was better than Thierry Henry at the time, or certainly a more effective man to lead the line, because Henry was obviously seen as a winger, and then lo and behold, something clicked, and I would put a hell of a lot of it down to Dennis Bergkamp.
I want to play you this. It's Kevin Kilbane talking to Joe about his first-hand experience of going toe-to-toe with Dennis Bergkamp.
Arsenal Invincible side always talked about as a big, massive team. Players would say you'd look over at them in the tunnel and think, oh crap.
Perez, Bergkamp, I'm going back maybe prior to that. Yeah, Sol Campbell, that side.
Henry's big.
Keane. Huge lads. I mean, ridiculously. That's maybe that 10-year spell leading to that Invincible side, but they were huge. As I said, Perez, Vieira, all these lads. I mean, they were
surprised you named Perez there twice as the first name that came to your mind.
Well, Perez, because Perez was so good. He was dirty as well. That's why Perez, yeah, and so was Bergkamp. Yeah, they were technically brilliant, but they could handle themselves.
Bergkamp obviously has a reputation for sharp elbows.
Perez used to leave a little bit on you here and there, yeah. Always just wait for lads to go in and make that initial challenge, and then just hang his foot in there and just leave a bit on you. But he was that strong physically. That was the thing with Perez. He got anywhere near. Oh yeah, really strong. You know, Bergkamp was 6'2", 6'3". Henry, all these lads, they were all well over 6 feet tall. Vieira 6'4".
Bergkamp's 6'2".
Oh yeah, big lad, big man. Yeah, that was the eye-catching thing with Bergkamp when I first went up against him. The size on his chest, massive chest, massive shoulders. He was a specimen. Incredible how strong and how imposing he looked. And you saw him, Bergkamp. I'm 6'1" myself, and I wouldn't have necessarily thought, but Bergkamp was definitely in that.
Surprises me, unless they all just, the likes of Bergkamp and Perez look slightly smaller because they were constantly surrounded by an Henry and a Vieira and a Campbell.
Yeah.
But I never would have had Bergkamp down as especially big. Like you're talking about his chest.
Yeah.
Put him down as fairly scrawny.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
Wow.
And would leave a bit on you, as I said before.
I mean, clearly Bergkamp was filthy. Elbows.
Yeah. That was his one, the elbow. Just that little timing of the jump, maybe just slightly mistime his jump accidentally on purpose, and then bang, have some of that. That was Bergkamp's. Yeah. Brilliant.
Dennis Bergkamp actually only 6 feet, Kev. If you're watching this morning, he just obviously seemed a bit bigger when you were standing beside him.
Kevin Kilbane also only 6 feet according to Wikipedia.
Bergkamp nearly touching 6'2". Sorry, Thierry Henry touching 6'2", but Bergkamp just 6 feet. It's funny. Maybe they just had taller studs or something. They were wearing the metal studs at the start when you could get away with that.
That Arsenal team were all elbows, I'd say, all grit. Like nobody here is like proclaiming this to be the Mr. Nice Guy couple or the loving partnership of treating your opponents with a whole heap of respect. They were winners, cold-blooded, and it's beautiful, really, the relationship that they've had.
That's it. Okay, so that's your partnership, right?
Who have you gone for?
Taking you all the way back to the summer of 1993. A long, hot summer. Manchester United have just won the league. And there's only one name in world football that everybody wants to sign. There are upstarts from Blackburn who have already signed Alan Shearer from underneath the nose of Alex Ferguson, although Ferguson ends up getting Cantona. So, you know, as things go, swings and roundabouts. But Shearer is the most dominant young talent in European football. The next most rising talent in European football is Roy Keane. He's just been relegated with Nottingham Forest, and he's available. And so Roy Keane, on a Friday afternoon, goes and meets Kenny Dalglish, boyhood idol Kenny Dalglish, who's like, you know, trusting go ahead. And they bicker. They bicker as two alpha males will do about money. Keane wants exactly the same amount of money as Alan Shearer. Dalglish is like, no, I'll give it to you. Eventually they come to a deal, right? 500 grand was what Shearer was on. 400 grand is what a year, 400 grand a year is what they end up giving Roy Keane. They shake hands on the deal on the Friday evening. Keane goes home, goes on the session Cork, wakes up on a Sunday morning, his brother's standing over him with the phone going, it's Alex Ferguson. Come and meet me. Have you signed anything? Come and meet me. They go to Ferguson's mansion. They play a bit of snooker. Roy Keane falls in love. The deal with Blackburn Rovers never gets signed. It would have been signed on the Friday evening if the administrative staff were still in Ewood Park, but they'd gone home. It's a Friday afternoon in summer, nothing's happening.
Can't play them.
What's going to happen? They might have been in the pub, who knows? There's no contracts available. So instead, Roy Keane and Alex Ferguson begin the greatest relationship in the history of English football. It is the biggest and most important and single most relationship at the heart of Manchester United during the period where Alex Ferguson becomes Alex Ferguson. Up to this point, he's been a good manager. He's won one league title, but there's no sense of his team being the dominant force. Bear in mind, if you put Keane and Shearer in the same team, they're roughly the same age. They're going to have a decade of absolute dominance because they're the best players. They are both the best players in their respective positions. Do we have the bit from Ferguson's book, the picture from Ferguson's book? We can stick that up. It was the most emphatic display of selflessness I've ever seen in a football field. Pounding over every blade of grass, competing if he would rather die of exhaustion than lose. He inspired all around him. I felt such an honour to be associated with such a player. This is Ferguson talking about Keane in '99 in the semi-final of the Champions League after he's picked up a second booking and is going to miss the game. Scholes is also on a second booking heading into the match, so he picks Nicky Butt to start the game. He protects Scholes. His first name on the team sheet in every big game from '93 when he signs to 2001 when Keane's hip starts to get at him properly, and even to 2002 and before Kyrgios arrives. This is the single most important relationship at the heart of Manchester United when they win the league title 7 out of 8 years or 6 out of 8 years, whatever it is that period. The fact that they fall out subsequently in so vicious, so violent a fashion that they despise each other so publicly
Forever.
means to me that the love that they felt was true.
That's deep right there. That's or maybe it was actually just the success and the joy that they got from the success was really strong, and actually it was only to do with their love for one another. Of course there was an appreciation there.
They didn't enjoy the success. It doesn't seem like they actually, it doesn't seem like, so you see them happy and hey, but actually that didn't give them happiness, did it? The money and the titles and the fame did not make either of those men happy. I don't know what's ever, I don't know if they're going to die unhappy, if at the end of their lives they look back and go, Jesus, I affected the entire world Every room I walked into, everybody was aware of the fact that I was walking into that room, but I never quite found contentment.
I'm sure they got brief moments of contentment as this relationship was flourishing. I'm sure the dominance is something that gave these men huge satisfaction. Being better than everybody.
They've both written multiple books, and the first books they write are these love songs to each other about how, you know, I found my soulmate here. Because Ferguson talks about, you know, I never needed to go in and drive the dressing room on because Roy Keane just did that for me. When you have that in a changing room, that just sorts everything out. The second book is like, Keane got too big for his boots. He was no longer as good as he used to be. We spotted this coming miles out. We changed his game. We turned him from up and down the box to sitting to protect him, to protect him. And Keane is like, Ferguson, too many of his family involved, too distracted by the horse. But actually, in the first book, it's like, wow, what a manager this is. If only the Ireland team could have been managed by him, we would have won a World Cup.
Does that damage the whole legacy of the relationship, though?
Oh, the relationships aren't just good and bad. This is Shakespearean level.
I mean, let's just use the books for an example then. So it starts off as a kind of a great love note, kind of like a Diana Ross album or something from Alex Ferguson, and then after the breakup, it just becomes a Taylor Swift album. It's kind of cheap, and this is actually a terrible end to your relationship, and it's all being aired in public. And actually, I don't really have a whole pile of respect for how this has been dealt with. Does that not impact how you view it on this week of all weeks, the love that's shared between them?
I think as partnerships go, that was the most intense. The bigger the love, the bigger the fallout. Let's have a quick look at Roy Keane explaining how the relationship collapsed at our roadshow last September.
I tell you what, I was at the club when Brian Robson left. I was at the club when Steve Bruce left. Two brilliant servants for Man United, and I didn't like the way they were treated at the end. So people talk about Ferguson's man management. Don't be kidded on by all of it either. Yeah. Don't be kidded on by all that. And Ferguson came out afterwards going, well, I always done what was best for United, Manchester United. Nonsense. His son played for the club, won a league medal, Darren. Very lucky. His brother was chief scout for Man United for a long time. Hey, listen, I'm surprised his wife wasn't involved on the staff somewhere. Darren, his son, was at Preston one time. Darren loses his job. A couple of young players on loan from Man United. Guess what happens the next day? They're pulled out of Preston. Is that what's doing the best for Man United? Do me a favour.
When did you last speak to Ferguson?
Not since then, obviously.
Not one conversation?
I think when he apologises to me, I probably will say hello to him, yeah. No, no interest in speaking to the man.
Nothing even over the past year, the ill health, made you think, maybe I'll just give him a call, maybe life's too short?
No. When he apologises to me, and David Gill. No problem.
Now, come on, tell me that you've ever been in a relationship that, like, drives you to that fury.
Do you think that Roy Keane is, like, going onto WhatsApp and checking to see if Ferguson is typing?
The blue tick?
No, just to see will it actually turn from last seen on 2nd of March 2002 to actually the green typing, and that he might actually be getting a message from Alex Ferguson to say, listen, Roy, I'm sorry.
All this week we're talking about the best partnerships in sport. If you've got any suggestions for us, you can use the hashtag OTB AM, or you can tweet us at @OffTheBallAM. It's all in association with Pandora. Show her that you know her and find the perfect gift this Valentine's Day with Pandora. So we've got some of the stuff here that you can see. It depends on what you like, but there are bracelets and there are rings and there are necklaces. Yeah, so check out Pandora for, I mean, it's early in the week, yeah. It's only Monday. You've got plenty of time. You don't really have plenty of time if you want to get stuff together. Valentine's Day big in your house, Owen?
Huge thing, huge deal. Absolutely goes way back, doesn't it?